There once was a man named Gold Roger who was king of the pirates. He had fame, power, and wealth beyond your wildest dreams. Before they hung him from the gallows, these were the final words he said.
Our perspective is yours for the taking, but you'll have to join us first. We left everything we debated at the Yonko table.
Ever since, pirates from all over the world set sail for the Grand Line, searching for the Yonko table, the table that will make their dreams come true.
Yo, everyone. That is the voice of your Yonko host, DrJaceAttorney, and we are here to deep dive the latest film of the kaiju extravaganza, Godzilla -1. This is the 37th, if you can believe it, Godzilla film. And to be fair, I think this is probably one of the more successful Godzilla films ever since its inception in the 1950s. But we will deep dive all of it, Godzilla's history, what's our relationship to Godzilla and the kaiju monster craze that's going on right now. But with me, as always, is fellow Yonko Grandmaster Hoop. Grandmaster, are you pretending the food you're eating is buildings and people like a kaiju would as you devour it and chow it down?
That's my Godzilla scream.
Oh, we couldn't hear anything.
Oh, lower register. No. Well, he has a high-pitched scream. I can't do it. Never mind.
That's okay. That's okay. You're doing your best. That's all we can ask for. But we are not alone in this endeavor. We have Supernovas here to join us as well. And let's get into it. Okay, so Godzilla -1. Let's see here. Let me feel the room out. Are you guys kaiju, connoisseurs? Do you watch a lot of kaiju-styled movies? Do you watch Godzilla movies at all? How's the room like for Godzilla in general? Because I can tell you, at least for me, my one exposure, I have 2 exposures to Godzilla. Well, no, actually 3. I have 3. I have the the 1998 classic, the GOAT. I think it's 98 or 99.
It's 98.
It's 98. Okay. So that was my first one. Then, honestly, it probably goes in order for like the American Godzilla films. After that, I watched the 2014 Godzilla movie with Bryan
like the Godzilla
Cranston.
trilogy, kind of like the Godzilla trilogy.
Kind of like the Godzilla. Well, I did not watch Godzilla. What was the one that had like a blue title? It was like Godzilla.
King of Monsters.
King of Monsters, that one. I did not watch that one.
Best one.
I've heard.
That was the one with Ghidorah, right?
Yes.
Ghidorah, Rodan,
yes.
Mothra.
Yeah, like that was. I think the best.
I've heard that one was the best, but I did watch the follow-up to that one, which is the Batman v Superman equivalent. Godzilla.
It's literally Batman v Superman.
Godzilla versus Kong. And that one I had fun with. I had fun with that one.
It's a good one. I actually just rewatched Godzilla -1. Made me go rewatch literally all those. The only one I haven't rewatched.
You rewatched all of them?
It's the only.
Like starting with 98, you worked your way back up again?
The 2014 series, which is the Monster Verse.
Oh.
The only one I haven't rewatched is Kong Skull Island because it's not on the Max right now. But that one is also really good.
Yeah, Kong Skull Island
Okay.
is possibly like if you're including like the Kong and Godzilla like movies together because they are.
That's a kaiju. Kong's a kaiju at this
No,
point.
yeah.
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 But like of the MonsterVerse, I mean, like Kong Skull Island is possibly like the best one.
Yeah, Kong Skull Island is really good. And I would say 2014 Godzilla might be the weakest.
And it's not
Because it doesn't have Bryan Cranston in it.
Well, that is a giant part of it. Giant. Though, I think when it comes to these Godzilla films and kaiju films, is that, we're here for Godzilla. And if the human characters, and we have this discussion all the time.
Transformers.
When we talk about Transformers, there has to be a respectable balance between kaiju-driven action and the human characters, if you so choose to focus on them. And that is something that 2014 film did not nail. I say the 1998 film with Matthew Broderick did not nail that, because
I thought you were gonna say it was better than
no
2014.
I mean, that film has enjoyable moments, but they butchered my boy Godzilla.
Your boy?
Stupid. Look what they did to my boy.
Boy.
Oh, what was Godzilla a female? In that
Yes.
one? I thought Godzilla was just asexually reproducing.
Honestly, I don't
Whatever.
remember. I thought he was
Whatever.
female. Yeah.
They butchered my boy, my girl. But I think that's a big thing about these Godzilla films, is that if the human characters are not worth the investment, then it's just like, give us more Godzilla. And if you don't give us more Godzilla, why are we here?
And like, it's really good that you say that, because this is what -1 just does.
This is what -1 does, correct?
Correctly.
In spades.
Right.
In spades.
Like,
and I can't believe.
Like, just to hammer it in, like, even though this is a kaiju, a monster movie, it is the most human out of all of them, and it just hits home. It hits home.
Well, let me ask you this. I don't know if either of you. I've only been exposed really to the American versions of Godzilla.
I haven't seen like the previous like Japanese.
Not the Japanese ones.
of
Okay,
Godzilla.
I know there's like Godzilla 2000 that was supposed to be like
I haven't seen
like a
that.
slap in the face to what they did in '98 to American Godzilla. They're like, dude, what'd you guys do? Now we got to make a good one.
It's like, it's up to us to save.
It's up to us. I know before this one, the Godzilla movie that was getting a lot of praise was Shin Godzilla.
Godzilla, did get a good amount of praise.
Right. And I thought about watching it, and I still should, with how much, spoiler, I enjoyed this one a lot, -1. But for Shin Godzilla, I remember like years ago looking up what he looked like in that movie, and he looked disgusting to me.
Many
like
people did not like the appearance.
I
though,
do.
it's true.
I was like, what is that? He looks like a turd. Like, I don't know. It looked gross. I'm like, maybe I could look past it, but I don't know.
Oh, yeah. I'm like kind of looking. Oh God.
Like, what is that? I don't know what. But the movie.
Godzilla looks absolutely disgusting.
But the movie apparently was really good, so I have to give it a shot. This one, of course, and -1, he's rocking it. I like this design of -1.
Well,
Godzilla.
I think what they were going for here in -1, which I think is actually like really smart, because and you have to. In these new Toho Godzilla films came about because of the 2014 MonsterVerse series. They said, well, if they're gonna reboot, because essentially that's a reboot of the 1998, I guess. Another crack at American studios tackling Godzilla. So they basically, in response, said, well, Godzilla is ours. They cannot be putting. They should not be putting out the best Godzilla content.
That was their Dragon Ball Evolution to them.
Yeah, I guess. Right.
I think it was another thing that was cool here in this one is because I knew beforehand, right? Like, one of Godzilla's origin stories, which was that he was a T-Rex. He was pretty much like hit by some radioactive shit or whatever, and then evolved into like the Godzilla monster that we know and love.
One of them was that he was a T-Rex and he got hit by the.
So pretty much it's like one of the origin stories. It's like that he was a dinosaur.
Okay.
And was blasted with radiation.
Damn.
And that made him into Godzilla, like the one that we know.
Yeah, no, that is one of them.
And in this movie, they tackled that origin.
Well, this
They
one,
did.
no,
They did
not no.
They did.
Hold up now. No, he was not a T-Rex.
No, like he was a dinosaur. But
no. He listen. I know what you're saying, because that is a very particular Godzilla origin. That is not what's here. That one deals with time travel, and that one's really convoluted. That is not here. That one is not here. Because I'm pretty sure I've seen that one. I had
that's a movie, by the way. The one that you're the time travel one.
That's a movie. Yeah,
okay.
That's a movie. My neighbor, growing up, he used to be obsessed with Godzilla. We used to play on the GameCube, Godzilla Destroy All Monsters.
Oh my God, the games! The games were so good.
Yeah, that game was actually really good.
That one was really good. Destroy. I completely forgot about that.
Destroy All Monsters Melee. I'm pretty sure that was the title. Fun game. But here they are getting, to your point, Dr. Mondo, they are getting back to the root, the earlier roots. Because to be honest, the best part of the 2014 MonsterVerse stuff is kind of the lore they're establishing with that franchise, with there being Titans and they used to run the earth and whatnot. But this one, again, it's that human approach of nuclear fallout, the arms race, and Godzilla is just simply a product of radiation. Whatever fucking lizard was at the wrong place at the wrong time got hit, and boom, here we go. And I was gonna say this earlier, the design of this Godzilla, it evokes the new wave of CGI type Godzilla mixed with the costume origin,
the classic,
the classic,
right? And I think it's honestly a perfect blend.
This was perfect. It really was. Oh, perfect blend of what?
Well, just combining new and old, because it's like the 2014 one looks really good in the 2014 movie and in the King of All Monsters. When you start getting away from it, like in Kong versus Godzilla, and then in this new one, he's pink and whatnot.
Come on, that pink goes hard. It's like,
I don't know.
It's like Super Saiyan Rose. It's nice.
I am indifferent.
This is color not beautiful. That's what Goku Black says.
But I do believe the approach they chose in -1 is, very spirited in terms of trying to evoke the sense of the classic.
Yeah, I think films. It evokes the classic, but I don't know, like here in this one, this is possibly like, at least from the Godzilla that I have seen, because I haven't seen, going back, although, technology has come a long way. But this is a scary ass Godzilla. Like,
he's scary.
Oh,
menacing. Like, truly menacing.
I think it's
the MonsterVerse is like, okay, you're big, but you don't get that menacing nature out of it. It's like, and they don't play at that in the 2014. It's like Godzilla's kind of like the protector or blah, blah, blah. Here is like, oh no, we're ditching that. Like, Godzilla is just literally a walking weapon of mass destruction.
Well, that's kind of going, because I think I talked about it before with Grandmaster, right? They always had like a balance between trying to tackle what version of Godzilla they want to tell in any movie, right? It's either Godzilla, who's our savior, right? Trying to save us from like whatever monster is attacking this city or this place, or it's Godzilla's nuking everything. We gotta stop him. He's out of control right now. This one he's out of control. Like he's destroying everything and we need to stop him.
And I think it's interesting too. I wish I knew the history of kind of when did the shift start, because I guess it's been a while since Godzilla has played the role of just a walking
the problem
nuke.
Like honestly, like at least starting from the I didn't see Shin Godzilla, so I may be like totally wrong here. But like the 1998, he's kind of a weapon of mass destruction to a certain degree.
Yeah, he's the problem in that movie. She's the problem.
It is the problem. But like in the MonsterVerse movies, Godzilla is like the protector, kind of like not even a protector. He's just like keeps everything in balance.
Balance.
Well,
Balance.
see, and I don't want to keep talking about the 2014 movies, but they do a really good job at just bringing in like logic and science behind it. He is an apex predator. If you are not a threat to him, he's not here to bother you. So he's not out here trying to destroy humanity. He's literally, if King Ghidorah happens to be in Boston, he's got to go fight King Ghidorah.
What are you doing here? You're not allowed here.
Because like the
Right.
world, because yeah, the planet is his territory.
Correct. So he has to put that to rest. And see, we should probably like do a lead up into the next Godzilla Kong film because it's really good, the lore they establish here. But with that said, yes, it has been a while since we've seen Godzilla just be what is presented here in -1. And I think from the films that I've seen of Godzilla, this one definitely feels like Godzilla is, I just feel it's just like he's a force of nature, and they really focus in on the humans and how destructive, and just the story centered around what's going on with the humans. And it's just like, damn, life sucks. Fuck, here comes Godzilla, you know? Like, I think they did a great job in this movie. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, who do we have like helming this movie? Because I know with Godzilla, they don't rely on the same writers or directors every single time. They always want like some new fresh blood coming in to the franchise. Who do we have on this one?
Yes.
Actually,
let me help you out, and I find this actually very interesting.
of course.
So, let me double check one little thing real quick. Just wanted to see. Okay, no. Oh, okay. So, get this. Godzilla -1. We're back to Toho Studios, the original creators of Godzilla.
Okay.
As Dr. J said earlier, this is the 33rd Toho film, but this is the 5th in what is known as the Reiwa era, which started with Shin Godzilla. There's 3 animated Netflix films.
Those are part of the.
Those are part of it. Yeah, this is part of. I don't know to what degree, but they're part
Wait,
of this.
is that like the part 3? The
There's-
3 Godzilla?
There's 3 of them. The 3 animated ones on Netflix. They're
Okay.
part of
Because I
this.
think I've seen them. I think I've
Okay.
seen-
They're shows or movies?
They're movies.
They're movies. Okay.
There is, I think, one show that's also part of this.
So those 3 projects are part of the 5 from
Planet of
this
Monsters?
Reiwa
Yes.
era.
Yes, correct. Now,
Oh, yeah,
this,
I've seen Planet of Monsters, City on the Edge of Battle. Yeah, all those. I've seen them.
right.
Okay.
So they're part of this. So what level of degree I do not know, but Godzilla -1, directed, written, and I guess he did the visual effects too. Takashi Yamazaki,
Oh.
doing all 3.
Wow,
That's
he's part of
crazy.
all 3.
Yeah,
Jesus.
director, writer,
Director,
and visual effects. That's crazy. First of all,
That's insane. Wow. Okay.
yeah. I feel that's great. Like, he's in there making these visual effects. I don't know how many directors are doing it like that. Shout out to Takashi. This movie is starring Ryunosuke Kamiki, Minami Hamabe,
Wait,
Yuki
as
Yamada.
who?
Oh, so Ryunosuke, that's our main character. That's Koichi. Yep.
Koichi. Okay.
Minami Hamabe is Noriko, his friend. You know,
a friend.
the domestic partnership.
Right.
Yuki Yamada as Shiro. That's one of the crewmen. The little crew that they formed.
Right.
Mutanaka Aoki is Tachibana. You remember Tachibana, the guy? They were the survivors in the beginning of the film.
Oh, right. The mechanic. The mechanic.
Yes, the mechanic. The mechanic.
Okay.
There's Hidetaka Yoshioka as Kenji, the naval guy. And then let me just finish this short list. Sakura Ando, Kuronosuke Sasaki, Mio Tanaka, and Sei Nagatani. That's the core cast. Oh, Sei Nagatani is the girl.
The child.
Akiko.
Okay. Akiko.
So that's your main cast. Who I think, again, this cast ate. Everybody
They
ate.
did.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
It was great, like across the board, perfect.
Yeah, not a single person in this that I don't think I did not like care for in some varying degree. I'll tell you
what.
I'm sorry, 2014 film. I did not care about Aaron Taylor Johnson.
You didn't care about Bryan Cranston?
No, I cared about Bryan Cranston. I didn't care about Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Oh wow. Wasn't Millie Bobby Brown in that?
No, Millie Bobby Brown.
Millie Bobby Brown, I think, was in the second one.
She's in the second one.
King of Monsters. Okay.
She's in King of Monsters and she's in Godzilla Kong. And I have a lot to say about her performance and her placement in these films. But that's for another pod. Let's talk about this pod. One, it's like World War II. It's like right after World War II, which
right.
I wish we were bigger Godzilla fans. If that is not, I think they're typically always around that time, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I feel this one though played it really well, as far as began right after World War II, after they had just got hit by the atomic bomb.
Right.
And I don't know. I just, from my base knowledge, I have not seen this in any other Godzilla film where it's just like really playing to real world events and crafting a story around those real world events, because on
Godzilla is a mechanism of the story. Godzilla, even though the movie is called Godzilla -1, it's really like the story of this person and during this very troubled time in Japan and like the real world events.
Yeah, I feel Godzilla is not even the main focus.
Exactly.
And that's not a bad thing. That's what's important.
Godzilla is a mechanism to heighten the story. As you said, like before, Godzilla's a force of nature. Like Godzilla in this movie, he's not like a character in the sense like he has his own personality. No, like he just embodies the power of nature, the like raw power,
the sins of the father.
That's what he embodies in this movie.
No, absolutely.
And how humanity, these humans, and like they kind of like step up to the challenge, and like everything they're dealt with, and also each character with its little arc.
I'm so grateful that the movie did what it did so well, but at the same time, I'm low-key kind of worried that other Hollywood's gonna see the success of Godzilla -1, and they're gonna not get the right message from it, and they're gonna be like, oh, people love human characters. Look, they really love the kamikaze pilot. They love Noriko. They love this person. Put more humans in more of these monsters / kaiju / transformers. I'm like, no, you need to understand why these humans were fantastic.
Hollywood tends to miss the point a lot of times when it comes to this type of things. It's like, oh, and they try to copy it, and it's like, no, it's like the essence is something else. It's not that you just can copy and paste things. You have to put like time and effort into actually crafting something that's, good, relatable, and, that can captivate audiences, not just on a visual scale, but on an emotional scale as well.
I mean, you get it early on with even the main character, Koichi. He's a kamikaze pilot. He doesn't want to die.
Okay, and see, this is why, I think this film is one part, let's make a Godzilla movie. But also this film is one part meta commentary on just kind of Japan and kind of their ideals and how they used to view and do things. Because the whole making Koichi a kamikaze pilot, not wanting to die,
ingenious.
That was a stroke of genius right there.
it low-key kind of sounds it sounds dumb a little bit, like in the writer's room, because it's like, what if we get a kamikaze pilot that doesn't want to die? It's like the polar opposites of like things you're spitballing. Like, what if we have a dog that wants to be a cat? I don't know.
But the way they use that
The way they
like,
use it, that's important. That's important.
Like as that like connecting point for the entire story, and for it to be literally the center of it all. It's so well done and so well written.
Because you have the rest of
the entire movie. That is the theme.
He doesn't want to die, and he's constantly reminded throughout the movie by his peers, his colleagues, his neighbors, why didn't you die?
No, not only that, this movie, so it has to do with that. This movie is it's survivor guilt. Like
he's being reminded by everybody.
Like the entire movie is survivor guilt, because it's just like, because I am he says we'll talk about it in a lot more detail later on. I don't want to like jump ahead, but he says one line that's great, and it's like, I am someone that's I'm not even supposed to be alive. Like my job was to die. It's like that. He says one part in the movie, and it's like, wow, that is great. That is great.
No, I mean, really, and that's just one character, right? Mm-hmm. That's just our main character. We have a slew of other characters that were fantastic. We have our main domestic partner, Noriko, who picks up like a random child, right? In the wreckage of one of the atomic bombs going off. She's raising Akiko to up to at least toddler age. We have the who else? We have the squad, right?
So basically their captain, who's the captain of the ship. There's Doc, who's like the scientist. And I think the other one was like soldier.
I think Shiro. There's Doc, like there was the captain, there was Shiro, and there's another one that I forgot.
He's the one that got hurt and like he broke his arm or something.
Oh no, that's Shiro. That's Shiro.
That was the young one, right? The
that's
kid.
The young guy. That's
okay.
Shiro.
That's the kid.
Oh, kid. Okay. That's what they call him, kid.
They call him kid.
Yeah.
Right. He wants to see war. He wants to grow hair on his chest.
And it's like, but also this movie does like that, like social commentary very well, because I think it's, you have to have like at least some degree of cultural like competence and humility here.
Yeah.
And it's like the US can't do this exact movie in Japan because it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's like, this is not your culture. Like you cannot just like criticize the history as another country's history. And I think it's very well put that Japan is it's criticizing their own history and saying like, this is what we did wrong.
They're self-reflective of it.
It's very self-reflective. Very and in the movie, like constantly throughout the movie. And they can do that because it's their own culture, it's their own history. And like the U.S. equivalent would be like, let's say if Godzilla something in slavery. That's like the only like something like that.
You know what? You say that, I bet you there's a Hollywood executive right now. He's brewing in his cauldron. It's like, wait a minute. -1 was successful criticizing its past.
Like Godzilla Civil War.
Godzilla Civil War.
If you can craft a Godzilla story where the main characters or the story is a deep dive satire on the wrongs of slavery with Godzilla as a background tour de force,
that would be amazing.
By all means, if you can do what -1 did, go for
do
it.
Do it.
Godzilla slaps his tail down between the middle of the North and South, and people are trying to cross it, and they say, "You come back." Do it. But yeah, I think when it comes down to it,
producers, directors, you are hearing it first here.
Take that with a grain of salt.
We can do it.
Yes,
we can do it.
I think
do this.
When they crafted this story, they very much said, let's look at some of these issues. Kamikaze pilots. Was that right? Was that right? Any kamikaze pilots that survived? Should we be guilt tripping them?
Yeah.
And then on top of that too, it's just like, how can you be of service to your country after this atrocity that happened? And it's like, here Koichi just wants to be of service. He wants honor. He wants purpose. Because he wants constantly fighting this idea.
He wants redemption. He wants redemption.
Right, and it's sad because he lived, but he never started living.
Right. He puts it in a nice way.
Over.
I don't know how he quoted it.
He's still fighting his
That's what it was. He's still fighting his own war.
But my war has not.
And Noriko too. She peeped it too. That she's like, look what you have, man.
Yeah, look what you have. Look at this.
kind of. And then it was like,
why don't you want this?
Akiko, I told you not to call me father.
I knew that was coming. As soon as she said daddy, I'm like, nope, he's gonna say Akiko. We talked about this. Don't call me that.
Sad. It's so sad that
and that when he wakes up from his nightmares, it's like he thinks that the nightmare is reality. He thinks that the nightmare is reality and real life is a dream. And he's like it's like, oh yeah, I'm already dead. I'm already dead. This is all a dream. I'm likely dead somewhere in a ditch.
Well,
after fulfilling my purpose of being a kamikaze and literally, blowing myself up to bits.
Let's talk about those nightmares, because while it is tied to him being a kamikaze pilot and having also survivor's guilt, the big bad, the entity is tied to that survival as well. So what you get in the very beginning of the movie, you get Koichi. He lands with Tachibana, says, hey, plane's having some problems, buddy. Can you go fix it? Tachibana's like, hey, well, what are you talking about? There's nothing wrong with this plane. What are you insinuating, Tachibana-san? And then one thing leads to another. Bam! Godzilla appears right there. It's a small Godzilla.
He's small.
It's a baby Godzilla. I mean, could you call it a baby Godzilla? Baby Godzilla?
You just call him...
No,
he's not a baby.
Godzilla first form.
Godzilla first form. Okay.
First form.
Just like Frieza,
Right. This is first form Godzilla. Grandmaster, was this what you were talking about regarding the origin? Where they quickly, because there was a character when they saw Godzilla, they're like, oh my god, it's Godzilla, and they looked at him and say, who's Godzilla? And he quickly explained what, a spirit or
So what and again, this is kind of you pick and choose kind of the origins you want to go ahead and try to craft from this. He's clearly not a dinosaur here. He is a product of the atomic bomb, and then he only grows bigger, if you were paying attention, because the Cold War is going on too, right after the events of World War II. That's how he grows bigger, and it was the U.S. bombing that they were testing the Bikini Atoll islands, and that's where he got hit again to grow. So
that was in the beginning, right?
That was it was when they were moving forward, there was some newsreels and whatnot.
Okay.
And how the government tried to cover it up. However, so yes, the soldiers were like, that's Gojira. He brings fish.
Oh my God.
He brings fish to the islands when he, comes and whatnot. But mind you, here he's already growing. He's already growing. So yeah, he was based on a spirit. The spirit of Gojira would bring fish to the fishermen, but that's not your Gojira. That's not the Gojira you want, because boy was hungry. Started wrecking everybody. Koichi had a moment. If he could again, the dude is just scared. He wants to live. I get it. But at the same time, it's that line of, do I put myself on the line for others?
It's either your life or it's what's more important. It's that constant battle that he has. It's what's more important, your life or your country's, your honors, all that kind of all that comes into play. And it's he just freezes, and
he freezes, and everybody dies.
It's a very human response. Like, what the hell? Like, you're seeing this monster.
It's always in the face of certain death, because it goes back to being a kamikaze pilot. There's no like, oh, if I pilot the plane a certain way, I can survive. No, if you're a kamikaze pilot, you are dying. That is certain death. And going back to when on this island, when I think it was Tachibana, he was telling Koichi, hey, man, that turret over there, and try shooting him. And it's one of those things where, like, you as a viewer know, like, a little dinky plane just shooting Godzilla is not gonna kill him. But it goes back to that certain death. Koichi goes into that plane. He knows if he shoots this thing, that thing is killing him. Like, it's that gun is not gonna work. But it goes back to that survivability. He didn't want to die in the kamikaze pilot whole shtick. He didn't want to die here either. And then that guilt just carries on with him further and further, because, I mean, the result of him not firing from that plane was everyone on that island dying except him and Tachibana, right? They were the only two that survived.
Him and Tachibana. And then on top of that too, it's the fact that there was no effort, that, you know, yeah, he's pretty certain he'll die, and we as the viewer know, which makes it really good irony, because it's like, yeah, we know he would have died, but the fact that he didn't try, and then all those other people died, that's gonna weigh even heavier now, because it's gonna be, what if I did do? Yeah, what if I did shoot at Godzilla? What if I did follow through with the kamikaze plane? What if that saved millions?
No, and not only that, it's like the first thing that happens when he arrives at Japan, and I forgot the name of the character, like, hugs him, and they say, wait, what the hell? You're a kamikaze. What are you doing here? And
Sumiko
said, you're a kamikaze. What are you doing here? And it's like, because you didn't, like, because you are here, this happened.
You're the reason why we lost.
You're the reason that this happened. Like,
all that guilt just
which
coming
again,
down.
like, obviously we as a viewer know, like, come on, that's totally logical. Come on, like, what the fuck? That makes, it's like, again, just like playing at that survivor's guilt, saying like, you are not supposed to be alive. It's like you were born to die. Your purpose was to die, nothing else. You are not supposed to live. It's like just hammering that nail in. And you're not supposed to be alive.
And it goes back to, I mean, the human characters are so good with this, but it's funny to see that once that Godzilla bit happens, we don't hear about Godzilla for years. Like in the context of the story, it's like, all right, that was just a weird fever dream, in all honesty. I don't know what was going on there, but life moves on. I think it was like, what, 5 years later or 4 years later, something like that.
It does span a couple of years, yeah.
Some time passes, and Godzilla beefs up. We talked about it earlier with the design. I think because this version of Godzilla, to me, is terrifying. Like, and I've never gotten that from like any other Godzilla before, outside of the one that looks like a turd from Shin Godzilla, and the ones that just kind of look cool, like, you know, the MonsterVerse Godzilla versions. They look cool. It's like, okay, yeah, that looks like a beefed up lizard that could destroy buildings. He looks cool. This version is scary. Godzilla minus one is scary.
It's the eyes.
It's the eyes. It's the white in the eyes. Like, because he look like everywhere this thing moves and everywhere he looks angry. Like, he looks like
it's intentional.
It looks intentional. Like, he's like, you. I want you. This is, and I think it goes a long way, because I don't feel that from MonsterVerse Godzilla. I don't feel terrified of him. And it's a part of Godzilla that I always thought was almost cartoonish in a way, because like there are other versions of Godzilla that have always shown like the whites in his eyes, but it's always from my experience, it's always been the ones that are like what Grandmaster Hoop was saying. It's the one where he's like flying on his tail and like kicking someone with his feet, and it's like, this is dumb. This is a silly version.
When Godzilla got silly, right?
It's when Godzilla got silly. And then when they tried to make him more serious, they tried going, I mean, from what I've seen, at least the American versions, they tried to make him more reptilian. You know, he has like more of like the what kind of eyes do you call that? Like the more of like the snake eyes.
Ellipsis.
Is that what it is?
Elliptical.
Yeah.
Elliptical. Yeah.
Right. They try to make him more like that to show like, oh yeah, he's very feral. He's very like animalistic in nature. He's just out of control. But this version, he looks so angry. He looks just intentional, and maybe that was the point.
He looks hell-bent on just destruction.
Like, it more or less, you could say Godzilla's a manifestation of the way Japan at the time was valuing life for its people. Like the whole thing with the kamikaze pilots. Was it like one of the characters later on in it was that military guy, right? The one, once they found a plan to like defeat Godzilla, he's like, he gives us like this huge speech about like, listen, I know how the military and the government used to run things when it came to like, boosting morale and honor and, dying for your country, but that's not what we're about. I feel like Godzilla represents all of that because he's only coming in the scenes where like he's challenging the main character on if he's going to sacrifice himself or is he just going to run away.
Godzilla's a manifestation also of his guilt. Like
just
the pure manifestation of his guilt, a reminder of like, because not only like when Godzilla like comes into play, like, final form Godzilla comes into play, it just triggers everything with him because he's like, just when I thought I could live, I am cursed, like, to come back. And it's just like, again, like Godzilla destroys everything and he just remembers, I didn't shoot him down. And like now, like in his mind, like, everything that happened, it's his fault.
Yeah.
It's his fault. He says, because I didn't shoot this guy down when I had the chance, he's just destroyed everything.
And this may have heightened my experience in watching this movie. We saw this in 4DX.
We did.
And
we did.
Let me tell you, like, it was probably one of the best 4DX experiences I've ever had in a 4D. Like I have, what is it? I think I have Dragon Ball Superhero at the top for like 4DX. And then I think this is like right there, like right underneath that. You know what? Maybe I could even argue it's above Super in a way. But it's neck and neck. It's neck and neck. Because when Godzilla arrives on scene, you're obviously getting like whoa, he's like stomping everywhere. But there's a scene, right? And it had such good suspense that I'm like, Grandmaster Who is sitting next to me in the theater. And I'm grabbing him by his shoulders. What's gonna happen? What are they gonna do? And there's a scene, Dr. Mono, I think it's in your background. Maybe it's that scene. The first atomic breath. Oh. The first atomic breath.
Well, I think it's not the first because he does throw one before, but out at sea. I think this is the first atomic breath that you see its destructive power.
Here, look, it's the atomic breath where him and Noriko, he went to go get Noriko out of the city.
Yes.
And this, honestly, 4DX is a very good way to go watch a movie like this.
You'll be elevated in this scene. This scene elevates you. Oh my God.
I think it's because, and this is the first Godzilla movie where I think they really played Godzilla as if he was a walking nuke. When he did that breath, it was light first, and then the sound came.
It was
after.
Silence.
It was silent.
Because like you see the build up.
It was a true atomic breath.
It was, it was. It was very reminiscent of atomic bombs being dropped in Japan. Yeah, the whole mushroom cloud thing and everything.
Symbolism.
It's there. And I like this little gimmick. I don't think it's a thing in prior iterations of Godzilla. I could be wrong, but the whole thing with the spikes along his back, like ejecting to like charge up, and then when he's ready to fire, it injects back into his spine to like fire. That's
new to me.
That's new to me. I know they turn blue in like other iterations when he like blasts or whatever, but not like this. Not where it's like it one by one, boop, 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 and it's all coming out, and it's like a timer. It's a timer, and in 4DX, you're like, am I gonna get launched out of my seat? What is it gonna happen? And right when you know it's going to happen, and you see the blast go off, it's that silence. Our theater was kind of full, right? Like for the most part,
pretty full. Yeah.
You could hear a pin drop because everyone was freaking out over like, oh my God, he's charging up. Once that blast left, silence in the whole theater. Bravo. I loved it.
And
then the explosion.
Well, the explosion, and then on top of that too, because again,
and the
shockwave.
We really care about Koichi and Noriko.
Oh God. Once
and Noriko, and again, really good job characterizing Noriko. Pushes and self-sacrifices herself to push Koichi out of the way.
That's it.
Blown away.
Gone.
She's done. I'm like, oh my God. She not to mention she already survived the freaking Godzilla picking up the train and her having her Uncharted moment. Trying to get out of that train. So she already went through hell and back doing that, and then just done. Just wiped away.
Yeah, I remember that scene. I was like I think like I was just like, oh my God. Like just like watching that, like I felt like, and again that just hammers in Koichi's guilt, because again it's like he was like in his mind, his psyche, he was like, I should have been the one to be blown away.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah,
it was
should have been the one to be blown away, not her.
It was the one bit of happiness that, even though he didn't want to admit it, it was the one thing that he got, post World War II, and now that's gone, and now he's blaming himself.
When he says afterwards, just when I thought I could live, I am cursed. Like he said, that's when he says it. Like he
Godzilla.
Goes and he sees the photos of the men that died on the island, and he's like, just when I thought I could live.
Godzilla's a walking.
I fooled myself. I fooled myself I could live.
Godzilla's a walking manifestation of the constant reminder of
he's the constant reminder of his guilt, and like kind of like, or for what he would say, his sins.
Right. It's oh my God. And honestly, what sells moments like these, and it goes back to what you were saying earlier, Dr. Mondo, the budget on this movie is so here's some discrepancies with that. We've been seeing a number thrown around a lot saying the budget on this movie was 15 million. And it makes you think, oh yeah, 15 million, that's like a budget film and Hollywood standards, yada, yada, yada. But when you look at scenes like this, when you look at Godzilla, when he's walking around, when he does atomic breath, just seeing the visual effects in this movie, it's better than some of the 100 or 200 million dollar movies that we get in blockbuster Hollywood.
And we can name a good few.
I mean, we don't even have to.
Why?
Know.
Why not?
I mean, you're fine.
I'm kidding. If
you want to talk the most egregious, but remember, just try to keep it on here. We know which films
What?
are not utilizing their CGI teams.
Like who?
To The Flash.
Oh no! Why are you saying that one?
I don't think there's a worse budgeted CGI shot than the baby in the microwave.
I agree.
Opening sequence this year. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Let's just say there's some Marvel movies you could throw in there too,
like,
but
you know, even though there are some Marvel movies that have shut the bed with the CGI, like nothing beats the Flash.
Nothing beats the Flash. The Flash is probably that at its worst.
Thanks.
Right. Your Marvel heart is shielded from today's criticism.
It's not even about that. It's
Thank
just
God
simply
they didn't
pointing
target
out.
Marvel.
It's just simply pointing out. Mind you, Godzilla was only a bit of like actual CGI in the film. Everything else was, from what it looked pretty practical. I mean,
I think that also has to do that. They knew when not to use CGI and when to use CGI, and they used it very appropriately.
And when they did use it, it was very convincing.
Yes.
Like photorealistic convincing. Like there's a scene where I think it's in Grandmaster Hoop's background, where Godzilla's in the water and he's like chasing one of the boats, and he starts opening his mouth, and just the way the water is like going in between his teeth, and like it's such a grotesque like look into like the inside of Godzilla, like in his mouth, and I'm like, damn, is that like an actual like reptile's mouth that they have open like that? It looks convincing. And then I don't know if it was Takashi himself, the director, that came out and said this, but apparently the 15 million that was being thrown around, either him or someone else that was part of the movie, they actually joked about it and said, that's not even a right number. I wish we had 15 million, implying that whatever budget was on the film, it was less than the 15 million. I'm like, how is it less? How is it less than 15 million? It was already impressive by it just being 15 million. But if it's less than that, that's insane.
That is insane.
I believe it. I believe it.
You believe it?
Yes. I just
I think it's just how do you say, truly managing well your resources. Yeah.
It's resource management, plus also the artists, because there's an art form to it as well, like a visual effects artist. They have very competent artists, and they know how to allocate resources appropriately. They just need it for these scenes like this, and they do it.
And I'm not even going to say that all the scenes does the CGI look great. At times you can clearly tell, but I do think it was utilized correctly, because in this film, I feel there's a lot of great kind of perspective shots of just kind of the scope of Godzilla. Like, you know, the boat scene is probably one of my favorite scenes in the movie, because one, we don't often get kind of diverse scenes with Godzilla. It's usually him stomping around a city.
Yeah.
Mind you, people half the time forget that he is an amphibious creature, and that to have him do this was, I think, an excellent scene. I think
there's really only one scene where he's in like a city in this movie.
Yeah, there literally is.
Wow.
And I think, you know, too,
he's mostly in the water.
Yeah.
And then in the city scene, I felt they put to great use some of the shots of, like, there was a scene where Godzilla just stomps down and the street level rises.
Yeah.
And, like, the people get like
right.
Shot up, or people hit the thing because they're running and they run into it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I thought it was really great to kind of put that to scale and give us that perspective. I feel that's not often done in Godzilla films.
So interesting, because, you know, in like just comparing it to the Monsterverse, right? Like, because in the Monsterverse, we see Godzilla go up against like other titans, other monsters. Yet I think that this movie demonstrates like a Godzilla that's like far more destructive, far more powerful than the one in the Monsterverse. Like,
I want to say he's more powerful, but like it's the choice. It's the choice to focus on Godzilla, and again, this goes down the line of the history when they started making it about Godzilla fighting other monsters is that you lose that perspective of how the humans are affected by this. Like,
Oh yeah.
in Godzilla versus Kong, they fought in Hong Kong and they probably killed so many people.
No,
in their
the city
fight.
was evacuated.
Hell
No, but I mean,
no.
like,
No,
but I
it
mean, like,
wasn't.
this is again, this movie just hammering it in. It really puts Godzilla as a walking force of nature, a walking force of destruction, a freaking walking nuke, a nuclear reactor that's just walking around and can throw atomic bombs on a whim.
Oh yeah,
Like-
and I like how he's kind of nerfed by it a little bit, because it hurts him. He can't
Yeah.
he can't just
like,
go
burns-
spamming it.
Like, he burns up. He's a nuclear reactor.
Yeah, he's like, ow, damn, that kind of hurts. I better not use that a
Like,
lot.
But like he's honestly, it's like if Godzilla wanted to, he would destroy the entire planet in this movie. Not just the freaking
I don't think I got planet destruction vibes.
He's not a planet buster.
no, like I mean, like
Not
there's nothing in
Vegeta?
there's nothing in the world that could have stopped this monster.
Well,
I mean, it stopped
the,
him.
well, the characters after that initial atomic bomb that he dropped in the city, there's like a mad dash to try and like, you know, get rid of him. They're like, hey, we got to work together. Japanese government's not helping us because they don't want to acknowledge.
Military pulled out too.
Military pulled out. No, foreign intervention.
The U.S. doesn't want to because if not, like it's going to agitate Russia.
It's gonna. They gave justifiable reasons for why they didn't just, you know, went all up in arms, because with that logic, they would have been able to like destroy Godzilla. They're like, hey, listen, let's just get our biggest tanks, our biggest fighters, and just blast the shit out of him. I think that'll be enough to kill him. But they pull those to the side and they're like, hey, no. We're not going to have those type of people fight off against Godzilla. We're going to have the people consisting of like fishermen, civilians, ex-military people, and they're all banding together to find like very creative. Like I felt like I was in that room when they were trying to figure out.
The plan was so creative though.
It was like, I'm like, what are they, if they do not have guns or anything, what are they gonna do? What crazy ass way are they gonna try and find to kill this monster? And when they thought of the whole like pressure displacement formula, I'm like, oh, you know what? Yeah, go ahead, try that. Why not? Try crushing him by the water. I don't think
like the sea, like
where he's from. Yeah, where he's born from, that will be his death. And I don't think. I mean, I could be wrong. I'm not a Godzilla connoisseur. I've never seen a version of Godzilla where they're trying to take him out and they're using the ocean to actually defeat him. Maybe there is. I don't know.
I would like to safely assume there is not. This was a very creative take because it very much, I think, it is a commentary on science. Like, it's not always gonna be guns and bullets to save the day. It's gonna have to be.
Even though at the end of the day, it kind of is, but
barely. It was because what they. I mean, again, good. This was just done so good because you have that scene where they actually do capture him. Like, the plan's a success. It
was working.
It was working, and they bring him down like however many meters, like thousands of meters below the ocean. And again, it's that silence. Like there's a brief pause where like they bring him down to the depths that they want to bring him to, and then you hear a like it's like a sudden like pressure, and everyone in the theater was like, "Oh, is that it? Is he dead?" I thought he was dead. I thought he was dead from that. But no, he was still alive. So then the logic was, all right, now we gotta like bring him back up very fast because his body can't adjust to the pressure. And I remember grabbing Grandmaster because then when they're bringing him back up, the line broke or something happened to where it got jammed, and I'm like, Grandmaster, what are they gonna do? What are they gonna do to beat him? It was such an intense scene. I was at the edge of my seat. The entire time. I'm like, what are they gonna do? The plan's not working. Oh great, they brought him back up. Now what? He's still alive. He's charging another one. What do we do? What do we do? This finale was fantastic. It was fantastic. I loved it.
The finale is only bolstered by some of the bits that happened before. Tachibana.
The Tachibana bit. Right.
Yeah.
He's recruited
again,
to.
It's like Koichi again trying to find redemption. And it's like he's looking for Tachibana, the man that he has wronged. And he is like, I want you to help me set things right.
And he says, I need you to build this plane so I can do what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah, so I can do what I didn't do years ago.
And
in Koichi's world, it's like, I want you to help me die with honor. Like,
and I'm glad they cut it right there.
Yep.
They cut it right there.
Because they play with you. They play with that feeling.
They did.
Because like the entire
They
time,
show him looking at the back of the seat.
Sure, but you know, it's like
I'm like, why is he emphasizing looking at the back of the seat? That because they made it a point earlier in the movie to say that there were no ejector seats in these kamikaze jet planes, and I'm like, okay, very interesting fact. I didn't know that. But then they have this scene with Tachibana, and he's like telling him like, oh yeah, you gotta make sure you fly into its mouth when he opens it, and then he's looking at the back of the seat, and I'm like, why are you looking at the back of the seat, buddy? You want to tell me something?
What works is the idea that the whole film, you are not thinking that Tachibana is the one that needs to kind of have a rethinking of ideologies.
Yeah, like, you know? Tachibana is the one that would say, like, yeah, you should have died years ago, so I'm gonna help you die. And it's so interesting. And it's so well written and well done how Tachibana is the one that tells him, you deserve to live.
You will live. Tatakai!
You deserve to live.
He says live. Because that's what it comes down to, is that and I'm not trying to shit on nobody's way of thinking, but it's like, if there's a better way to do something, then do it. Yeah. Kamikaze planes are a great idea. They can cause a lot of destruction. They probably can get stuff done. But to what cost? A whole life? Right. And he's like, I get it. I finally get what you were thinking.
And then I think also, like, he sees Akiko's drawing. He sees the photos of the men that died. It's like how he notices Koichi's guilt. He notices Koichi, and like, not only the guilt of what he didn't do years ago, but also now, like, to a certain degree, like a new type of guilt. It's the guilt of what he's going to leave behind.
Well, it's not that he notices the guilt. He notices
like how much he has suffered, like how much he suffered because of that.
He has not been living. He may be alive, but this man is not living. He may have not thrown his life away with a kamikaze pilot in the name of Japan, but he is not living. He may have, exploded Godzilla's face with the tugboat earlier in the film, but he is not living. So it's like, and that's what this film, it's a giant kind of discussion about life, what it means to be alive, what it means to self-sacrifice your life, put your life above others, or put others' lives before you.
It's a discussion of the value of one's life.
Yeah.
Of how much value you give to your own life. It's really a discussion about that.
Right.
And it culminates beautifully, because
you're thinking
well,
the entire time.
Right, Koichi, we get the reveal that there was the ejector, he pulls out.
But
He still didn't have to,
not only that,
Right.
but like you get that reveal like pretty late while he's in the charge. While he's
Yeah.
like
We don't
Well,
see
he
him
start-
eject. We don't see him
Right.
eject.
You
And,
think he just dies with the
and it's
the
like
plane.
because everything is building up to him, I want to redeem myself by dying. Like it's all building up to that.
Yeah.
And then it's like you get by the way. And
I
it's like
remember-
Tachibana is the out of all the people that could have told him this, Tachibana was the person that he least expected it.
In a lesser film, it would have came from anybody else but Tachibana. So, but in a great film, it had to come from.
It's like
Tachibana.
poetry.
had
It
to come
rhymes.
for Tachibana.
It is like poetry, and I remember Dr. Chase was like, "He ejected." I was like, "I don't think so."
Yeah, I knew he did. He had to.
There was an overwhelming cheer from our auditorium when they realized he ejected, and it was a great feeling. It was a great.
It was
feeling.
great because it was the final blow to Godzilla. He's defeated.
Not only that, but it's
He-
like, and when like, and it's so interesting, like with the destruction of Godzilla, kind of like his guilt, his all that, all those sins of his past that he the sins that he thinks he has committed in his past kind of like wash away.
Right.
Yeah.
They
Mhm.
plummet to the bottom of the
They
ocean.
plummet to the bottom of the ocean.
and
It's like it's very symbolic. Like it's him also when he destroys Godzilla, it's like he finishes that war with himself.
well,
that is
about finishing the war, I think they hammer it a little too on the nose with the real ending where what is it? He
I know, but
on
like-
the
but-
nose. It's
he
fine.
it's fine that it's on the nose, but like what he gets a letter to like go to the hospital, and
Correct.
and he learns that Akiko survived.
No,
But
Noriko.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, Noriko. Akiko's the daughter. Noriko survived, and the first thing she says to him to drive the message home, what is it? All right.
Has your war
Is
ended?
your is your war finally over?
It was nice. It was nice.
It
No,
was
but it-
beautiful.
Yeah,
That's
it's
what it
very
was.
like Godzilla's destruction is both very literal and symbolic at the same time, and it's done very well.
Well, I think and again, this kind of.
I mean, because he chose to live too, he
Mhm.
now has that piece of his life back with him. That's his life that he gets to now enjoy because he chose to live by pulling that ejector seat. Because at the end of the day, he could have still just went inside
Yeah,
Godzilla's
Had a
mouth.
choice.
Yeah,
He had a choice.
he had a choice,
also-
and he
but
chose to
also-
live.
But two, he went out there. Godzilla was firing at him. His tail was trying to whack him the whole time.
Right.
He knowingly went out there knowing very much that he could die.
He could die.
And that's not something he did prior.
Right.
He flew out of formation, landed on that island in the beginning. He did not even try, So it comes full circle. Like he plays the part. He's the bait. He's literally the bait. He lures Godzilla, and he could have died in those moments.
I just got to say this: that scene where he chose to live, that was Robin in Annie's lobby. I want to live. when she
Oh
told
my
me.
God.
Oh my gosh!
Enough. Last
we gotta relate this to One Piece somehow.
that's one way to do it. That's one way to do it. And then because this is a monster movie, we have to have like the little but is it really over?
Well, there's two.
There's two. You get the one where Koichi is crying in Noriko's arms, glad that she's alive. You see this like black pulse thing that's like in her neck, which you're assuming it's kaiju related. There's a big question as to how she even survived that blast.
That's a big question.
It's a big question. I don't believe that she just I just lost an eye. If it's even an eye that she lost, maybe she just got like hurt or something like on her head. But yeah, big question as to how she even survived, and is it related to whatever that thing is in her neck. Grandmaster, I think you said like in the lore of Godzilla, there's like people that could talk to Godzilla or like feel the emotions of Godzilla.
Yeah, there is, and there's like things with like Mothra as well.
Okay.
You know, just like a race of people that have ancient ties to these giant creatures and whatnot. I don't know if they're going that route, but I have to imagine that is what they're trying to set up, is that kind of relationship. And so I imagine Noriko survived due to
the black mark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which wasn't there
maybe
before.
Or maybe she got it from
right. I think she
like,
got it.
Yeah.
From,
whatever happened in the explosion.
Now, whether that means we get a direct sequel featuring, you know, Koichi and Noriko, don't know. But clearly they're leaving breadcrumbs for something to,
right,
something that ties this family unit back to Godzilla. And then, of course, you know, you can't keep a good lizard down.
King of Monsters always
finds a
back.
way. Always finds a way. You see, this thing crumbled into pieces. I remember thinking that, oh, they're just gonna blow his head off and then he's gonna like sink to the ocean. He's gonna regenerate. He crumbled to pieces, like a stack of dominoes. But I mean, that happened, and I guess like his core, was still intact, and you see it
I guess so.
growing back in the ocean. So it's like, okay, yeah, you can't keep the good ones down. So he's coming back, and if they decide to, I think
Malcolm from Jurassic Park. Life always finds a way.
Indeed, it does, especially with lizards. Especially with lizards.
For the radioactive
giant radioactivity and the already ability to regrow limbs.
Right.
So,
Right. And yeah, I mean, that practically concludes the film of Godzilla. I would go and see this again.
I would watch it again.
I would watch it again.
This is honest. And the thing is that this was a movie that I knew, like, that they had said, like, some of the critics had said that it was going to be good, but I was like, this is a monster movie. I'm just expecting just like mindless destruction, really badass moments of Godzilla, and that's it, right?
Right.
And I was so pleasantly surprised by just how well written it was. Like the characters, how interesting they were, and how Godzilla, yes, this is a Godzilla movie, that Godzilla is just an instrument of the story to go along, but the humans in this movie are fascinating and captivating.
Right.
And that's how it should be. And it's like, wow, this is so refreshing to see.
And I think what got me, because I had no intention of watching this movie, because it was announced like some time ago already, and I'm like,
well, it was very limited release as well.
Very limited release, yeah. Especially with the English subtitles, Japanese audio film, and I had no intention of watching this. I'm not that big on Godzilla, but what got me to want to watch this is because on my feed on social media, people were just hyping this movie up like it was the second coming of Christ. And in my mind, I'm like,
a god?
A god? Are y'all gassing this? Why are y'all gassing this? It cannot be that good. It can't be. Like, you're just overhyping it, because now what you're gonna do, you're gonna overhype it, you're gonna get me to the theater, and I'm gonna be left pissed off, saying like, oh, it was just mid, great, thanks for hyping me up. It lives up to the hype. I was pleasantly surprised. This Godzilla movie it deserves all the ratings, the ravings that it's getting from fans and critics alike. I have not seen or heard of someone that has gone to see this movie and walked out disappointed. If they did, I question their intellect and good storytelling. Maybe they just want the Godzilla. Maybe they want just the toys clashing together, right? Maybe they want the Godzilla versus Kong and Mothra and what is it? Gamora. I don't know what the three-headed one is.
Really, this is
Ghidorah.
This is just like we've been talking about this a lot, that that Hollywood, it's like Hollywood's gonna see this and is gonna try to like copy it, but they're gonna do it wrong, and it's gonna you miss the entire
people
point.
Want humans, right? Well, we gotta put more humans.
This is just another lesson that you can teach like a lot of other filmmakers in the industry, with movies such as like the Monsterverse, with movies such as Transformers, like that type of movie where you have these like enormous like cataclysmic creatures or beings, and that you can still have those really cool badass action CGI moments with these titans or whatever, but you don't need to sacrifice the human element as a result of that. And if anything, it's like they shouldn't be the center of the story, but they should enhance the story that is being told by the characters themselves. And, if Hollywood can get that message from this freaking movie, then maybe we can have a good Transformers. Or maybe
it's a dominoes effect. You never know.
I'm gonna say this. We don't even need to worry about Hollywood. Just have these people keep pumping out stuff.
Oh no, of course. I'm just saying.
What I mean.
We will be there for Godzilla X Kong, Kingdom of Monsters. I don't even know what the hell it's called. The new one.
It's just Rise of an Empire.
Rise of an
Godzilla
Empire.
What I mean is this: is that, there's always this idea that people are trying to, in competition, trying to one up, but at the heart of it all, I think this film was just trying to.
Oh no, I think this movie was trying to make its own thing. It's not competing against anyone. These are just artists.
No, I mean, but I don't even think Hollywood's gonna look at this film and be like, "Damn, we need to do that." I think Hollywood knows what they're doing. They wanted to just make Godzilla versus Kong. That's why the human element sucks. The human element sucks, but I'll tell you, the human element here is definitely really well done, and I honestly think it's more of a human story than it is a Godzilla story.
Yeah,
and I think that works.
The main character. Godzilla's not the main character of this movie.
Right, and I think that's why this movie is really good. Is that is the story they were trying to tell. If Hollywood is not trying to tell that story, well, I hope they still tell a good story of whatever the heck they're trying to tell.
But I think it's nice to have these types of movies that can maybe inspire better movies to come out.
Well, see,
better movies that come out is better for us.
Well, I'm just at the point where, we are living in a day and age where we have Toho still making Godzilla movies, and we have Hollywood, Legendary Pictures making Godzilla movies. And I think that's honestly great. I think it's great that we can have this really, well thought out Godzilla -1. And then I'm glad in a couple of months we can just have this bombastic Kong and Godzilla fighting another.
You want
evil
the toys
monkey
smashing together. Boom, 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 boom.
That's still fun. You can still have fun with that. So I'm glad we live in an era where we can get both kinds of films.
I guess what?
Oh, well, find some form of entertainment from both.
Right. I guess the last thing is overall, like, score-wise, what you're gonna give this movie. I mean, for me, if I'm going off of Godzilla standards, this one was the best one. This was the best Godzilla movie I've ever seen. 98 was close. 98 was was number one before, but I'm the queen, the king, whatever. It's been toppled. It's been toppled. And this one is in its place. I still haven't seen Shin Godzilla. Maybe my mind might change, but God, that thing looks so ugly. I don't think I think I could love everything about Shin Godzilla, but that design, I don't care what you do with that design. I'm not praising that design. So it already will not be better than this Godzilla movie, Godzilla -1. That being said, this was a 10 for me. And maybe that part of that's heightened from the 4DX experience. I think that plays a role in it as well. And honestly, I don't find any faults in this movie. I'm trying. The one thing, and I don't even think it's a problem, the one thing I can maybe see some people thinking is a little cheesy is you could call it, I guess, like the overacting of certain scenes.
But I think that has to do a lot with like maybe like Japanese.
I think because in a lot of those instances,
like a cultural aspect.
I think it's a cultural thing because in a lot of those scenes, I try to switch my mind to be like, if I saw this played out in an anime, would I have a problem with it? And I wouldn't. No. I wouldn't have a problem with it in anime, but they're taking that, what I would have seen in an anime, and putting it like live action. Yeah. So even with that, I can't even say, oh, well, that was kind of cheesy. No, I still liked it. I still loved it. But that's the most I could probably throw against it, but it doesn't stick for me. So to me, it's a 10. This movie was perfect, in my opinion.
So,
solid
like,
10.
For me, like, it's really hard for me to kind of like find something. Maybe like to a certain degree, I think I would have also been happy if Noriko was dead. And him like taking care of Akiko. I would have been satisfied with that. Because I was like, for a part of me was like, how did she survive? But
that's a big question, yeah.
But at the same time, like, I kind of said, like, you know what, he deserves this win.
Give him some happiness.
Give him this win. This guy's just been getting L's the entire time. He deserves a win. So really, I didn't find any faults either. Like, so I think I'm gonna give it a 10 too.
Damn. 10. All right, Graham. I know Spider-Man's not in this movie. I know there's no. Where's Mothra? Where's Kong?
I am gonna give it a 9.
Of course you would. Of course you would.
Let me finish now.
Go ahead. It's
the best Godzilla film I've seen. Yes.
Right.
However, I am a big sucker for, all hail the king, Godzilla, save the savior Godzilla. I am a fan of Savior Godzilla. That's just me. But with that said, I do think this is the best Godzilla film that I've seen. And with that said, to Dr. Mondo's point earlier, the human aspect of this, I do want the monster first. If you're going to include humans in your story, do what these people did. Which they're very close. They're very close. But then you have Millie Bobby Brown, who had no business being in Godzilla versus Kong and all that mess. And I was like, God, I hate this. I don't even think Millie Bobby Brown in that movie says Kong once.
And again,
like, this is dumb.
Not criticizing Millie Bobby Brown, you as an actress.
No, it's not her fault. No. I love 11. Love her.
Like, you're a great actress, but the writers did you dirty.
She's just eye candy. They said Stranger Things is hot. Let's get Millie Bobby Brown.
That'll fill seats.
Some seats.
Yeah.
But no, the biggest issue with the MonsterVerse is that there is a big focus on the humans. Actually, you can check out my Letterboxd reviews. I talk about these things in my Letterboxd review of Godzilla 2014, King of Monsters, and Godzilla vs. Kong. Don't do this if you aren't going to do it well. That's a shout out to Transformers 2. If you're not going to If you're gonna do this, you need to do it better. But I do really like some kaiju on kaiju action. But however, I have not been really treated to destruction mode Godzilla, so I really do appreciate this film. And flippin' dippity doo, I think I'm probably gonna go watch the 1998.
Yes. Fill out your palette. Fill out your palette. A classic.
I'm like on a 21st century Godzilla marathon right now. So if I can find some Toho films, I'll watch some Toho films as well.
Yeah, just skip the 1998.
It's
tradition. You have to watch it.
No, yeah, like it's true you have to watch it, but
in order to appreciate our highs, we have to understand how low we were before.
That is true. Like, those are true words. Great way to put it.
Well, there you have it, folks. There's our takes on Godzilla -1. Very limited screenings, but I think at the time of recording this, they're still pretty active on in a lot of theaters. So it's been a
box office success.
It's a box office success. They hear the cries of the fans. Find a theater that is showcasing this movie. And what if you have the means, watch it in 4DX. That is easily this is like in top three easily. I think mines are like top Dragon Ball Superhero, Godzilla -1, and Fast X.
Wait. Did you see Top Gun in 4DX?
I did not see Top Gun in 4DX.
Top Gun in theaters.
Maybe that would have been a good one. Top
Gun Maverick.
That would have been a good one.
4DX is something else.
Wow. Nothing we can do about it now.
Alas, this will easily break into your top 3. Godzilla -1. But once you see it, let us know what you guys think of Godzilla -1, wherever you're listening to us on, whether it be Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, at the Yonko Table. Let us know what you think. Let us know what your favorite Kaiju era movie is, and we'll see you in the comments below. I'm your Yonko host, DrJaceAttorney, fellow Yonko Grandmaster Hoop, and Supernova Dr. Mondo. How do you want to end this? I don't know, man. There's no iconic
Godzilla, bum, bum, bum. Oh, yeah, I got one. Oh, no. They say he's got to go, 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 Godzilla. Ooh-wee. Blue Oyster, the band, they have a song called Godzilla.